Good morning, students. Patrick here. So, today we are going to take a look at subordinate conjunctions. And I don't expect you to know what that means or what that is, but that's the title of today's lesson. Okay? Without conjunctions, you cannot write a good academic text. It's impossible. So you have to have a good understanding of what conjunctions are and how they work. Okay? So, first things first. If you don't know what a clause is, there's no way for you to understand why conjunctions are important. Okay, so we want to talk about clause. Now you might think, what is that? Santa Claus? Well, obviously that's a different thing, right? They sound the same pronunciation, okay? Same pronunciation, clause, but Santa Claus is Santa Claus, and the clause that we're talking about here is a sentence or a part of a sentence. Okay? A sentence or a part of a sentence. And I know that you are very confused now. Don't worry too much. You're not going to be confused for a long time. But what you need to know is that a clause must have a subject and verb. Okay? So when you look at a sentence, if you see a subject and a verb, that's a clause. Okay? Very simple. So, any sentence that you see, or part of a sentence that you see, that have a subject and a verb, you would be looking at a clause. Okay? So, for example, she is hungry. She is subject. Is verb B. So this is a clause. Okay? And it's also a sentence. So the clause is also the sentence in the situation. Another example. I am feeling well today. I'm feeling well today. I is a subject. Am feeling is the verb. And well today is a phrase. A phrase is just any words that are together, right? Cold outside. Cold outside. If I say cold outside, that's a phrase. Phrase does not have to have a verb. It doesn't have a verb. But a clause does. All right? Like now here. So, I is a subject, am feeling is a verb. Okay? Now, this we call independent clause. Independent clause. Now, you might ask me, what on earth is independent clause? Well, what is the meaning of independent anyway? Are you independent? If I ask you if you are independent, I'm asking you if you are able to live by yourself. You don't need your parents' help. You don't need anybody's help. If you're able to take care of yourself, you are independent. If nobody tells you what to do, you are independent. But why am I saying independent clause? Don't worry, you will see that. Okay? Let's continue for now. But You know what independent means now, right? I explained to you what the word independent means. So just keep that in your mind for now. Now, look at this clause. Because she's hungry. Because she's hungry. Now, if somebody tells you because she's hungry, would you understand what the situation is all about? It's not very clear. You cannot start a sentence with because she's hungry, because whoever you're talking to will be very confused. If somebody tells me because she's hungry, well, what is the first part of the sentence? What is the first part of the sentence? I don't know. You are starting with because she's hungry. I don't know what the conversation was first. I have no idea what the person said before because she's hungry. So because she's hungry by itself is not clear. It doesn't make any sense. Now, although I'm feeling well today, okay, and this is not complete. It's incomplete. It's not complete. It's incomplete. That means the meaning is not clear yet. If somebody tells you, although I'm feeling well today, you are waiting for them to finish the sentence because the meaning, the idea, the meaning is not clear. It doesn't make any sense. So, because the meaning is not complete, because the sentence is not complete, this clause we call dependent clause. That's a dependent clause. So dependent is, that means if you are dependent, you are relying on somebody else to live. So children are dependent on their parents. Without their parents, they cannot live. A baby is dependent on his mother or father. Baby cannot walk by himself or herself. Babies cannot stand on their feet. They need their parents to carry them. They are dependent on their parents. So these clauses are dependent on the sentence or the part of the sentence before them. They are not able to stand on their own. And because they're not able to stand on their own, we call them dependent clause. So I explained to you before that when I talked about independent, an independent clause can stand on its own. It doesn't need anybody's help. It doesn't need any other words for help. The meaning is clear without adding any other words. If I say she's hungry, you understand that she is hungry. The meaning is full. The meaning is clear. If I say I'm feeling well today, the meaning is clear. I don't need to add any more words to make the sentence clearer. It's a complete sentence. It's a complete thought. But if you look at these here, because she's hungry, I don't know what the meaning is. I don't know what the full thought is. Although I'm feeling well today, you are supposed to continue. There's something that you need to say so I understand the main point of the sentence. For example, although I'm feeling well today, I don't feel like going out. Although I'm feeling well today, I don't feel like going out. Okay, now I understand. I don't feel like going out. I'm not in the mood to go out. I'm not in the mood to go out. That's the main idea. Although I'm feeling well today is only helping the other sentence. So if I say, although I'm feeling well today, people still don't understand the main point I'm trying to make. You understand that? So that's what a dependent clause is. So we have independent clause and dependent clause. So I want you to think about a father carrying his son or his daughter. So you got the independent, you have the independent who's the father and dependent a child. So I'd like you to think about uh, the dependent clause and independent clause like a son and his father, a baby and his parent. All right? Now, so she is hungry is an independent clause. Okay? And because it's an independent clause, we call it a simple sentence. It's a simple sentence because that simple sentence has one clause, and that one clause is an independent clause. Clear? Okay. So now I've got the independent part, she's hungry. That's the independent clause. So that means if I stop here, if I choose to stop here, she's hungry, I can stop. People understand what I'm trying to say. But then if I say, because she skipped lunch, that means she didn't have lunch. She skipped lunch. Because she skipped lunch, that part is dependent on the first part, she's hungry. If I say because she skipped lunch by itself, people won't understand. So, she's hungry because she skipped lunch. Now, because this sentence has independent clause and dependent clause, together they form a complex sentence. It is not simple anymore. It's a complex sentence because it has two clauses, one clause that is independent and another that is dependent. Does that make sense? Again, think of independent clause like the Batman character. That's the hero in the movie, right? All right? That's the hero. That's the main character. He's the main character. And the other person is Robin. He's Batman's sidekick. He's the sidekick. He's not the main character. He's just the other guy. He's the sidekick. So I would say he represents the dependent clause because he is Batman's subordinate. Do you understand now? Subordinate. What is subordinate? So you got the boss of a company, the boss, the owner of the company, the boss, and then you have the people working under the supervision of the boss. Those are subordinates. You got the manager, and the team working under the management of that manager. They're called subordinates. Okay? So, Robin is Batman's subordinate. And now we can say, basically, that all dependent clauses are subordinate clauses. It's the same meaning. Okay? It's the same meaning. Dependent clause is a subordinate clause. For example, unless you say sorry, this is a subordinate clause because if you don't finish the sentence, I will not understand what you're trying to say. So I need to hear the full sentence. And this is only a small part of the sentence. Unless you say sorry, and you can imagine the person you're speaking with waiting for you to finish your sentence because he or she has no idea what you're saying now. Unless you say sorry, and then I'm going to say an independent clause. I'm going to use an independent clause, and I'm going to say, I won't forgive you. Oh, that is the main central idea. I won't forgive you. But I will only forgive you if you say sorry. See? If you say sorry. If you say sorry is a dependent clause. So, I will forgive you if you say sorry. Or, same meaning, unless you say sorry, and that is the dependent clause, subordinate clause. And the main clause, the independent clause, is I won't forgive you. Do you understand? Okay, so you cannot have a subordinate clause unless you have a subordinate conjunction. So this is subordinate conjunction. Unless is a subordinate conjunction. And that's why it changes the clause into a subordinate clause. So if you see any of those subordinate conjunctions, you know that the clause that they're in are subordinate clauses or dependent clauses. All right. So clauses are made subordinate, as I said, because of subordinate conjunctions. And I'm going to give you some examples, okay? If you look at that, I am giving you a lot of sentences, okay? And what you don't see in those sentences is the independent clause. You don't see any independent clause. All the clauses you see here in those examples are dependent clauses. And all the words or the conjunctions inside the circles, okay, they are subordinate conjunctions. So, what I'm going to show you in the next slide is the independent clauses, which you cannot see right now. You can see question marks, red question marks all over the place, right? So, let's look at the first one. Since I don't like him, okay, but this is not clear right now. The main part of the sentence is still not there. It's missing. So, since I don't like him, there's something that I need to say now. But we're not going to say it now. The next sentence, you can see I'm starting my sentence with an independent clause. But there is a dependent clause starting with before she dies. So there's something very important that was written, that was said before before she dies. And we'll find out what that is. But before she dies is a dependent clause. Why? Because before is a subordinate conjunction. So that means we are looking at a subordinate clause. Okay? Next sentence. You have a question mark. You have as soon as I arrived. As soon as I arrived. But I don't know the main part. I don't know what the main message. I don't know what the key message is. You're telling me something, and then as soon as I arrived. I don't know what that means. So again, you have as soon as. That's a subordinate conjunction. Next, even though she still loves him, something. But that's incomplete. It's not a complete thought. It is not a complete sentence. So that's a subordinate clause. While I respect her, okay, go on. I don't know what that person is trying to say. Next, blah, 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 blah. Wherever you go. Wherever you go. I don't know what the main message is. When travel is allowed again, because now travel is not allowed because of the COVID-19, it's not allowed. So when travel is allowed again, blah, 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 blah. Something. I don't know what that idea is. And then again, blah, 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 blah. Question marks everywhere. As much as you want. As much as you want. So, you can see here, all those sentences are not clear. And the reason they're not clear is because they are all subordinate conjunctions. All of them. Every single one of them. And the reason they are subordinate clauses is that they have subordinate conjunctions, like since, like before, like as soon as, even though, while, wherever, when, as much as, only if. We have a lot of them. And I'm pretty sure that you can find a long, long list of them. And we are going to give you a list that you can have of subordinate conjunctions. Okay? Now let's take a look at the full sentences when they do have independent clauses. Here we go. Since I don't like him, I'm not inviting him to my party. So the main part is I'm not inviting him to my party. I'm having a party and I'm not going to invite him. The reason I'm not going to invite him is because I don't like him. So, since I don't like him, I'm not inviting him to my party. So, the main idea in the sentence is I'm not inviting him to my party. The dependent clause is since I don't like him, because you are giving me more information. The reason you don't want to invite him to your party is that you don't like him. Okay, it's good to know the reason, but I don't need the reason to understand the main idea of the sentence. The main idea of the sentence is I'm not inviting him to my party. So, I'm not inviting him to my party is you should know right now, an independent clause. And if I write it on its own, it's a simple sentence because it has one clause and the clause is an independent clause. So that's why it's a simple sentence. But if I say, since I don't like him, I'm not inviting him to my party, I have changed the simple sentence to a complex sentence because now I have a dependent clause in the beginning, since I don't like him, and I have an independent clause, I'm not inviting him to my party. It's no longer a simple sentence. And most academic writing needs complex sentences. If you want to write good English, if you want to write a good essay, or a good report, or any other type of academic text, you need to learn how to write a complex sentence. So that's why conjunctions, all conjunctions, are extremely important, are tremendously important. Without them, you are not able to produce a good written text. You cannot write well. Okay? So, my advice to you is really spend a lot of time practicing writing complex sentences, for example, like the ones we are looking at right now. Okay? So, she wants to see him. Okay, I understand the idea. She wants to see him. She wants to see him. All right. Before she dies. So if you don't tell me before she dies, I will understand that she wants to see him. But if you give me the dependent clause, you are giving me extra information that is also very important, but not as important as the main idea, that is, she wants to see him. That's the main idea. But if you want to know why, that's because she's going to die soon. She's going to die soon. So that's why she wants to see him. That's why she wants to see him. So she wants to see him before she dies. Next one. The dog started barking. Okay? I can understand. The dog started barking. I understand. It's a full idea. It's a full sentence. This, I can say, it's a simple sentence. If I stop here, but I did not stop here. But if I stopped here, that would be a complete, simple sentence. The dog started barking. The dog started barking. Do I know why the dog started barking? No, I don't. I don't know why, but I know that the dog started barking. Okay, now if I continue, if I say, as soon as I arrived, I'm telling you when the dog started barking. I'm telling you why the dog started barking, and I'm telling you when the dog started barking. Because if I say, as soon as I arrived, that means when I came back home from work, if I was at work, and if I come back from work, if I get home, when I get home, my dog starts barking. So in this situation, the dog started barking as soon as I arrived. I'm telling you when the dog started barking. So in any case, I'm giving you more information when I say as soon as I arrived. So as soon as I arrived is a dependent clause, is a subordinate clause because of the as soon as subordinate conjunction. But the main sentence is the dog started barking. Next. Even though she still loves him, she won't marry him. She won't marry him. All right, so I know the main idea. She won't marry him. Okay? She doesn't want to marry him. She won't marry him. But I want to give you extra information. The extra information is that she still loves him. And that's a bit strange because if you love somebody, if a girl loves a man, she will marry him. Usually, normally. But in this situation, it's a bit strange. Even though she still loves him. Okay? So she broke up with him, but she still loves him. And even though she still loves him, she won't marry him. She won't marry him. Now, if I don't give you that extra information, you don't have detailed information about the situation. If I just tell you she won't marry him, you don't know why. And you don't have any background information to know the situation more. But now you have a better idea about the situation. Even though she still loves him, she won't marry him. Next, while I respect her, okay, while I respect her, I don't like her. Because you don't need to actually like somebody to respect somebody. You can respect somebody without liking that person, right? If you respect that person, you respect the fact that they are, let's say, if you respect people, that means you appreciate those people. You are sort of appreciative of the fact that they are educated, that they are smart, that they are successful, that they are rich. You can respect that, but you don't have to like that person or those people. So I'm saying, while I respect her, that means although I respect her, even though I respect her, I don't like her. So when I hear while I respect her, I'm prepared as a listener or as a reader, I'm prepared to see a statement, the main statement, the main idea. The main idea, I don't like her. Okay? All right. So, next, I will go. I will go. All right, I understand that this person will go. I will go. Wherever you go. Wherever you go. If I say wherever you go, right, now I understand that this person would follow the other person anywhere and everywhere because they love that person. Okay? So, I will go. I will go. I'll go wherever you go. Next, when travel is allowed again. So somebody tells me, when travel is allowed again, and I'm listening, and I'm saying, yes, yes, what are you going to do then? What are you going to do then? Because the meaning is not clear. The sentence is not complete. The thought, the idea is not complete. When travel is allowed again, I'll visit China. I'll visit China is the main idea. I'll visit China. But when travel is allowed again, I'm telling you when I'll visit China. So I'm giving you extra information that you don't need to understand the main idea. The main idea, I will visit China. That's the main idea. But I don't need to give you more ideas. I don't need to give you more information to understand that idea. But I can clarify. I can clarify by giving you more information. And that information is when travel is allowed again. Because we know travel is not allowed now. When travel is allowed again, I'll visit China. Okay, last. You may eat. Okay, I'm giving you permission to eat. I'm giving you permission to eat. You may eat. But if I don't tell you as much as you want, maybe you're not going to be very comfortable eating a lot of food. So I'm giving you more information that you are welcome to eat as much food as you want. That's okay. Then you feel more comfortable, right? You feel more comfortable. But if I don't say anything, you may eat, then, okay, I'm giving you permission to eat. You can eat, but you're not sure if you can eat a lot or eat just a little bit. So you may eat as much as you want. As much as you want, you cannot start a sentence like that because I don't know what you're saying. Are you talking about earn money or eat food? I don't know what you're referring to. I don't know what you're referring to. So as much as you want is the dependent clause or subordinate clause because of the subordinate conjunction as much as. You may eat as much as you want. Okay, so now I've explained to you what clauses mean. What is a dependent clause? What is an independent clause? And you know that dependent clause is also called a subordinate clause. And the reason we call it subordinate clause is because of the subordinate conjunctions. They can be at the beginning of the sentence, they can be at the end of the sentence. They can be the first part of the sentence, they can be the second part of the sentence. But you have subordinate conjunctions that make subordinate clauses. Okay? And so I've given you some examples of what subordinate conjunctions are. So examples like since, like before, as soon as, even though, while, wherever, when, whenever, as much as, if, only if, provided that, and we're going to give you a list later of the subordinate conjunctions. Next lesson will be on the coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions are different from subordinate conjunctions, and we're going to take a look at them in the next lesson. Okay? So practice this as much as you can and use it in your writing. I hope you do. Thank you very much.